Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at comparing slope. So very briefly, let's review the different ways to find slope. So if we have 2 points or a table, we use our slope formula. If we have an equation, our slope is the number in front of x, so that would be this number right here. And last but not least, if we have a graph, we do rise over run. So we're actually going to go back and practice all three of those ways. And then when we compare, we talk about who is greater, who is least. Those are the types of things we're looking at. Before you get started, please go grab a calculator. You're going to need it in today's lesson. So hopefully now you have a calculator. So let's go ahead and calculate. It says below are representations of Jesse, Troy, and Lucy's usage of gas. And then I ask the question, who has the greatest slope and how much greater is it than the smallest slope? So we'll find the slopes and compare them. So let's look at Jesse. I'm going to use the first 2 points. So that's going to be my x1, y1. Let me write it this way. This is going to be my x1, y1, x2, y2. So now I'm going to plug it into my formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to have 29 minus 0 over x2 is 1 minus 0. Well, that ends up being 29 over 1. Here's what I want you to do on a calculator today. I want you to take the top divided by the bottom. So 29 divided by 1 is 29. So Jesse's slope is 29. Now let's look at Troy. Remember, he has an equation, so all we have to do is find the number in front of the x. So his slope is 28. And now let's look at Lucy. She has a graph, so I want to find 2 really good corner points, and I've got one here and one here, and do my rise over run. So I rise 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and I run 1. So her slope is 25 over 1, or 25. So let's take a look at these numbers. Out of these 3, who has the greatest? Jesse has 29, Troy has 28, Lucy has 25. So Jesse with 29 has the greatest. How much greater is that than the smallest? Well, who has the smallest? Well, it looks like Lucy does with 25. So to find how much greater it is, you take the greatest minus the smallest, and that's going to be 4. And in this case, they're talking about miles per gallon. Okay, so how much greater is it than the smallest? Jesse drives or gets 4 miles per gallon, uses 4 miles per gallon more. So now let's take a look. Same type of problem, except the question changes. It says below are representations of Tanner, Hunter, and Casey's speed as they walk. So Tanner has a table, Hunter has an equation, and Casey has a graph. Then the question says, who has the least? Remember, least means smallest. And how much smaller is it than the largest slope? So very similar, but be careful with the words. Greatest means biggest, least means smallest. So let's find the slopes. So I noticed that Tanner has a table. So I'm going to use my first 2 points. So this is going to be x1, y1, x2, y2. And I plug that into my formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 is 9 minus y1, which is 0. x2 is 2 minus x1, which is 0. So we get 9 over 2. But remember, we're going to divide all of these at the end. So I'm going to type in my calculator 9 divided by 2, and I get 4.5. So Tanner can walk 4.5 kilometers per hour. See, kilometers per hour. Now let's look at Hunter. Well, Hunter has a 13 over 4, but we're going to say 13 divided by 4. That's what I typed in my calculator, and I got 3.25. So Hunter can walk 3.25 kilometers per hour. And let's look at Casey. Well, Casey here has a graph. So I'm going to get 2 corner points. There's our corner point. Is that a corner point? It sure is. Look at that. All of these are corner points. So you pick any 2 that you want to use. I'm going to use the first one and the second one. So I rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I run 1. So 5 over 1, well, 5 divided by 1 is 5. So now let's use that information to answer our question. So who has the least? Remember, least means the smallest. Well, Tanner has 4.5, Hunter has 3.25, and Casey has 5. So it looks like Hunter has the smallest. And then it says how much smaller is that, or is it, than the largest slope? So if we know he is the smallest with 3.25, who's the largest? So Tanner has 4.5, Casey has 5. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 5 minus 3.25, and that gives me 1.75. And remember, we did kilometers per hour. So he is 1.75 kilometers per hour slower than Casey. So this is how we've used slope to answer some questions. Remember, use your 3 pieces of information up here to help you, and use your notes. And I'll talk to you guys later.